This is about overall readiness. The performance measure we're talking about is that 25% of the DOH incident management team members are non-DOH members, employees by December 2019. This was originally slated for December 2018, but because of new staff, we extended that. And so just a reminder that the DOH Incident Management Team, or IMT, is an agency team. It's not an Office of Emergency Preparedness and Response team. And with that, it's we're working on recruiting from across the agency, but also outside our agency. And just a little bit of additional background to this. Department of Health Incident Management has changed substantially over time. And I believe it was 2012, EPR started using the incident command system more purposefully. And our agency did exercises and we responded to incidents, but it looked very different from what the incident command system dictates. And well, it doesn't dictate it, it lines it out. And, but we are, as an agency, going to use ICS. We're all going to use that because it's interoperable. So if we are working with other agencies and private sector folks, they're all using that same system so we can talk to each other. After 2012, when we decided that this was going to be the way we were going to proceed in our response efforts, we kind of went back down to using mostly EPR staff on the IMT. We knew we needed to kind of rein things in and make sure that people were trained and understood the incident command system and how to use that in a response. So we really brought it back into EPR staff and used mostly those staff in response in the years of 2012 to like 2014-ish. During that time, there was some extensive training going on. And after that, we opened it up and really started recruiting in other divisions and offices and asking for folks that were interested to please come join. And the Office of Emergency Preparedness and Response is only about 26 to 30 people. So there's no way we can sustain a response with that group. And it is an agency team. So we opened it up and really asked folks from other offices to join the incident management team. Then after Cascadia Rising exercise in 2015, that was a major eye-opener for our agency, as we saw during a catastrophic type emergency, we will probably not have a lot of our folks coming to respond. We'll need more of a regional type response team. And that's when we determined that recruiting folks that were not from DOH would be a good idea, and have them work with us as a team and bring them in so that we can get to know each other and work together and make sure that we are all on the same page. So with that background, then in 2015, we had all Department of Health IMT members. And so we were at 0% for this measure. We didn't really have the measure in play yet, but that's where we were starting from. Then in 2016, we had fewer IMT members overall due to staff turnover, but we did gain 6 non-DOH staff on the IMT. Then 2017, we were up to 59 IMT members, 7 non-DOH staff. And then 2018, we again had a lot of turnover then, but we were up to 10 non-DOH staff. So our percentage was looking pretty good at that point. But there was a change in 2019 after the, I guess we are calling it the Clark County measles response. We had a huge outpouring of support from across the agency in folks that were willing to be on the incident management team and respond with no training and no prior experience. And we really appreciated everybody stepping up. So we ended up with 124 DOH IMT members and 13 non-DOH. So our percentage is down, but our overall numbers are encouraging. So the issue, I talked a little bit about this, but there's a challenge in fully staffing the IMT during a lot of activations. There's a lot going on in our agency day to day. Offices respond all the time. So Office of Drinking Water has things going on all the time. Shellfish folks have things going on all the time where it's kind of an emergency. They're responding, but it's their normal day to day. When it gets above that point where either the media attention or the duration or something boosts it up to that level where there needs to be a little more coordination around it, that's when the IMT takes over and helps with that coordination piece, helps that office with the coordination piece. And the office is brought in as subject matter experts onto the IMT at that point. So during those times, it's really difficult to fully staff the incident management team. So especially during those longer duration activations, that really becomes rough. I mean, people can only come away from their day job for so long, and they need to be rotated out. Then another issue is spreading DOH staff over multiple concurrent or continuity of operations type activations. So we had a winter storm on top of measles, and then we had we've had bomb threats during activations. We've had the RAD response during the second measles activation. So there are all kinds of times that we've seen now that show that there's more going on than just one response. So we need to have enough people that can come in and help us out. Then we also ran into a problem with prior engagements. Folks had conferences that they had signed up for months in advance and the agency paid a lot of money for them to attend. And so we need to cut them loose off of the IMT and let them go do those things. We had a memorial service where a lot of IMT members were off for a few days. So we needed to make sure that we had non-DOH folks that could just step in and be part of that team and know what to do and how to carry on. Then we also have some non-flexible funding sources for some of our IMT members, our current IMT members. And so that can create some issues. If those are our trained folks, then we need more people to draw from. So how are we doing? We're still in team development mode. We're still working on recruiting efforts across the agency and non-DOH staff. We have quite a few new EPR staff and IMT members that we're working on, including more non-DOH IMT members. And we're working with DOH leadership to see to find new IMT members, not only from the agency, but non-DOH IMT members. And then we're planning some training and exercises for IMT members, and that includes our non-DOH members. And then there's a newsletter for the IMT that some of our previous staff created, and so we'll continue with that communications piece, and that would also go out to the non-DOH IMT members. And then supervisors and management awareness of the IMT so that they can spread the word internally and externally. I mean, most of our DOH leadership are involved in groups that involve other state agencies, and they have friends that they could say, hey, don't you want to join the IMT? And I think there's some, I know that there are some other state agencies that have established incident management teams, and they're very willing to come and help with ours, and we're willing to help them with their activations. So it works both ways for that. So what are we doing to improve? I understand that we're scheduling some meetings to partner with the agency tribal liaison so that we can tap into that source of folks more. We're creating formal position shadowing opportunities so that people from within the agency and outside the agency can come and be with the IMT during a response or during an exercise and see how things work and get to know the position and understand a little bit more what would be expected of them. So it's kind of a non-threatening environment to learn. And we're partnering with agency leadership to increase awareness of IMT staffing needs so that they understand how some of these positions that we have on the incident management team only have a couple of people that understand and are trained to do that position. So we really need some help in some specific areas. And then we have kind of changed our view. We are not expecting people to come in and be fully trained. We're creating a learning environment on the incident management team so the people that have been doing this for a while can take folks that don't understand what this is all about and help them to learn in that environment. And then we've updated the IMT application process and the form to make it a little easier for folks. And it also includes a section for the supervisor to be aware of what this person would like to do and get approval from the supervisor. And then we're reaching out to staff from other state agencies at the State Emergency Operations Center work days up at EMD. So that's a great place to partner with other state agencies, folks that are already into emergency management for their agency, and help them to understand that we are recruiting folks for our IMT. And then offering the opportunity to LHJs and tribal partners during our monthly EPR program update calls. We have quite a number of people that tune into that every month. And so recruiting that way is really helpful. Then we also created a recruitment video. And I think it's a 3-minute video, so I think we have time for that. And I don't know how this comes across on the GoToMeeting, but
from earthquakes and mudslides to Mount St. Helens and viral outbreaks, Washington state history has demonstrated the diversity and severity of incidents that can impact our state. It takes an incident management team with organized, specially trained, and exercised personnel in order to effectively manage the response to today's ever-evolving and complex incidents. The Washington State Department of Health has developed a Type 3 incident management team in order to provide the most effective and coordinated response to any incident involving public health. Under the Secretary of Health's vision, we are a first responder agency, and every person and program in this agency has a response role. It is critical to have our incident management team in place to provide the support and coordination needed to manage major and complex incidents requiring a significant number of local, state, and tribal resources in a time when personnel and equipment are not as abundant. This all hazards team manages incidents that extend into multiple operational periods and require a written incident action plan. From wildfires to radiological events that can be deployed out of state through mutual aid agreements to assist our nation in times of significant events. Our team is made up of well-trained personnel and is staffed through a collaborative effort and partnerships between internal Washington State Department of Health employees and external partners from tribal, state, and local government agencies across Washington. Our incident management team stands ready 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and is well trained and exercised, participating in several pre-scheduled events every year. Our team has been called into action in over 20 real-world responses from its inception in 2013. The team's first real test was the March 2014 Oso mudslide. For more information, or if you want to make a difference when it matters the most, join the Washington State Department of Health Incident Management Team. Please contact the Office of Emergency Preparedness and Response at 360-236-4009.
We're going to have to change that number at the end.
Thank you.
That was Andy Rose's old number. So it goes to Cody. Yeah, I told Cody he might be getting some phone calls. So moving on, our barriers and challenges. We have a mutual aid agreement or memorandum of understanding between our DOH, IMT, and our partner agencies. The issue is liability for other state agents. Well, if they're a state employee, it's not a problem, but if it's private or volunteer folks, there's a liability issue. And so Senate Bill 5990 has addressed a lot of that, but there are still some gray areas. There's the time that the person leaves their home to the time they arrive on scene. And so there are still some issues that the AG's office is working out. But so that's one of the things that we're working on. Then another challenge can be frequent activations. If you're activated all the time, then it's really hard to do the recruiting process in a methodical way. And then multiple concurrent activations is also difficult to manage all of that at the same time. Then we have previous staff that have had relationships built over time with some of these external partners, and now with new staff, we need to work on recreating those relationships. And then when we do get some folks that are non-DOH employees onto the IMT, they don't stay around forever either. There are folks that retire, and there's just turnover. So just keeping up with that is a challenge. And that is the end of my presentation. Are there any questions? Any comments?
Hey, Sue.
Hello.
So this is one that I had the opportunity to kind of experience along with a bunch of folks during measles, Clark County, which was bringing in a team from out of state, from North Dakota, our friends there, through the EMAC, so the Mutual Aid Compact Agreement. Does that change? I mean, I thought it was really cool. So for reference, that was something we were going to do in T-Rex. Measles stole the show. It was super nice. But does that kind of change our need to have such a depth of folks that aren't in DOH?
I don't believe so. My personal opinion about that is that what if they're not available? I think we need to be self-sufficient within our state, but know that we can reach out through EMAC to other state agents or other states to fulfill that resource need. But I think that we're going to continue to try to get 25% of our IMT as non-DOH staff. Did anyone in the room, other than this table over here, get to respond during either of the recent measles outbreaks? So was it an opportunity? Did you feel like it was an opportunity to get to learn something new, or was it really stressful, or how did you view that? Now, JMAC has done it in the past, but I think it's been a little while. So was there anything new that you saw?
Well, for the measles outbreak, I played a little different role. So in the past, I've been a liaison officer and an incident commander, and for measles, I was asked to step in, well, also as an incident commander, but also as an agency administrator. So that was kind of fun to play a little bit different role, and had the privilege of working with the IMT and some of our colleagues from North Dakota. They brought some great perspective and some wonderful stories. So yeah, I'm an adrenaline junkie, so I like it. That rush, didn't find it stressful. It's a great way to meet people from different program areas in the department coming together with a shared mission. So that makes it fun, I think.
Well, anytime we can get you on the IMT, we're happy.
Oh, just keep buttering me up and I'll keep coming. Plus the food. Now that there's food, I mean, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
I was going to ask a question, Sue. You said something in the presentation about looking to those of us who interface with colleagues from other agencies as a part of our normal jobs, and maybe we have a chance to invite participation in response. And I'm just wondering where we are in that work, if there are talking points or who should we put them in touch with. I'd be open to learning more about that.
Yeah, this is a very brand new thing. And so we're working on talking points for that. And I think the plan was to start at the deputies level with that. But, you know, we're thinking big too. We want to make sure that all of DOH leadership has that information. And then I think that all of the IMT recruitment comes to me, so they can either contact me directly or Michael Lair or Kenley, and they'll forward them to me.
Thanks. I'm just thinking strategically about inviting some of our colleagues at WATEC to learn a little bit more about our mission and our business, and it might help us down the road. So.
Absolutely, because Oz is wonderful, but if we can, you know, make sure that we have that that backup, sure, that would be awesome. Yep. Megan, did you have anything to add?
I'm almost afraid to talk today because I'll cough.
Oh, sorry.
I participated at the very end of the measles activities down in Clark County, and it was a really big learning experience for me just to be there with them and sort of see what it was like for things to be winding down. And I was completely wide-eyed the whole week. So it was a great experience.
So you would be okay with coming back another time?
Well, at the time I thought I was cured, but now it's been a little while, so maybe I would.
Great, great. Well, and Mark, you also were brought in on the other measles response, is that right?
Yeah, I was the planning section chief up in Shoreline, and Kevin put me through the paces and made sure everything was going good.
Yeah, Kevin's a taskmaster.
I still have bruises.
We have wonderful incident commanders that are very willing to teach and train during the incident or exercise. So it's really a no-fault environment at this point and a learning environment. We're happy to have new folks come and learn and see where they would like to fit in. Anything else? All right, thank you.